We're back. Oh shoot! I forgot. I gotta get the dog.
Wait, Drunk's inside.
He is?
Yeah, I heard him.
Oh, okay. Well, no, that's fine. Shut the door. If she brought him in, that's cool.
Man, I thought I heard him when I was going out.
If not, I'll get him later. Alright, we are back. What up? What up?
Thank you, Skeen.
For what?
He knew what 2 and 2 meant.
No one knows what that means.
It's Chuck Woolery from The Dating Game. Whenever he would go to commercial, he would always look at the camera and says, "We'll be back in 2 and 2."
It's a terrible poll. The Dating Game? No one wants that.
Skeen obviously did. Oh, who was it?
You know, my dad was asking me the same thing, Blay. It's just a massive, massive screen. Big theater, giant screen. There's IMAX 3D and regular IMAX, but it's just the scale.
Yeah, IMAX dimensions are 16 meters high, 22 meters wide. Also, and that's like the approximate. So it's 52 feet by 72 feet, but the largest IMAX screen is 30 meters high, so 98 feet high.
That's insane. Insane. All right. Shall we get rolling?
And actually, The Dating Game, a lot of people don't know, but there was the guy who ended up being the... Oh, what was it? 1 second.
That guy to kill me.
Hang on. There was a serial killer on The Dating Game. And...
like an actual one?
Yeah, an actual serial killer. He made it onto The Dating Game, and I can't remember what his name was. He's sometimes called The Dating Game Killer, but no.
Serial Killer Bob?
Something like that. Actually, his name was Rodney.
Rodney.
Rodney James Alcala.
Lacala?
Alcala. Actually, same name as...
Patty.
Uh,
And Wendy? Patty from school? Alacala? I always say Alacala.
yeah,
Alcala
isn't that...
is.
Yeah, isn't
Alcala.
that the Kaylee's last name, too?
Sure.
I didn't know they were related. I just blew me away.
I didn't know they were related.
Well, I'm sure they are. Okay, cool.
Well, we're talking about people nobody cares about. Aquatic. Meet Twinkie. Okay. Indy in the house. Nice name, by the way. Yeah, dude, I would love to see me some IMAX one day. Haven't done it yet, but I will. All right. We do not have a lot of SWOTOR this week, so it'll just take us maybe 10 minutes or so to get through it. And
Oh, hey, Joe.
Joa, what's up, dude?
Long time no talk.
Yeah, it's good to hear you.
Big
Good to
round of
see ya.
applause for Joe in the chat.
Yeah. Long time no see, dude. Hope all is well with you. I meant to mention those guys the other week because they've been doing some stuff, but yeah. Anyway, good to see you, dude.
Absolutely.
What have you been up to these days? I just have to check with him. Yeah, we're gonna start this bad boy up, but I'm so happy everybody's in the chat room. We'll give you a shout out in a bit. Nice, working in video games. That sounds about what I'm doing.
Yep, sounds about like the rest of us.
I think that's important, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so we are gonna get rolling here, and
rolling. What?
this is why we can't have nice things. I start to do a thing, and you do something.
I got
else.
nice things. I've got a brand new camera.
Yeah, we look good today. It actually looks like we're in the same room, which I've said many times, but we were always been in the same room for like the last year or two.
But my webcam on
But
my
your webcam
laptop
is
sucked.
crap, and so from that side of the room to this, it just looks so bad. Anyway, all right, let's get going. I'm ready.
Blast came from the Death Star. That thing's operational.
Dr. Banner.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 129 of the Usual Podcast, the podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall. And with me is my co-host, Will. I'm going to pretend he didn't do the things that he was doing while the intro was
How
playing.
is it I've never done that before?
I don't know. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for asking.
Well, you're lucky I asked you after all that.
I know you don't like me much.
No, not today. But we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. What you got?
I'm partaking in a wonderful brew from our friend John Skeen, who sent it to us actually a few months ago.
Yeah.
The Sun King Brewery is their Oktoberfest.
Yeah. And we had some beverages earlier as well. I had a little scotch and a Elysian, I think it's Elysian Brewing Company. Elysian Space Dust.
Yeah.
I can't remember the brewery right now, but it was really good. But right now, I am sipping on Stone Brewing Company's Tangerine Express IPA. It's nice. My wife bought it for me. It was on sale the other day, and she's like, "You never had this one?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah."
Is that anything like the Pineapple Express?
No, it's Tangerine Express.
How about the Midnight Express? Polar Express?
Are you done? Yeah, another one? If you don't have another one, you failed.
Federal Express?
Ah, screw you, dude. So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Find us on Twitter. I am at Darth Pops, and Will is at I'm Ro Griggs. Find us on your favorite podcatchers, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, all that kind of stuff. And, of course, if you want to support the show, one of the ways, and we'll talk more about the other ones later, but teespring.com/store/usual podcast. We got some merch up there, t-shirts and stuff from our Cantina meetups and all kinds of other stuff. So,
really quick, they're actually offering a brand new, and I want to gauge some interest from people here, so tweet at me and let me know if you guys want this. They are offering leggings now. So I can make some usual
don't you think
podcast.
that's a conflict of interest with Pippies, don't you think?
Well, we could get them and then mark them up.
I really don't care.
But no, we could get, if you want, hey, it'd be great for, the wives out there, for the female listeners, or, for me, because, they show off my butt so well.
Those of you at home, playing at home, Will is wearing the very same leggings he's talking about, and they're interesting. We'll just leave it at that. No, he's not.
No, I'm not.
So, anyway, we have some people from the Midwest talking about Sun King Brewing Company. And let's see, the WeMac. Did we have that one?
Yeah, that was the Scottish ale that I drank. That was
right.
really good.
Yeah, that was good. Skeen's having that right now. Thank you. And so we do have the timestamps in the show notes for non-SWTOR fans. If you're not watching live, we don't have a lot of SWTOR this week, so we'll get through it pretty darn quickly. And thank you, everybody who is in the chat room. We got some awesome folks, usual suspects, and some new folks. We got Joa in the chat room. We have John Skeen.
I believe wasn't Joa in
Cantina Cast.
Yeah, well, duh. But weren't they the first people that ever had us on first?
I think so. Yeah, indeed. So here we are.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's all good. But anyway, thanks everybody who's in there. And the other thing we want to talk about, we want to give a shout out to our drinking buddies.
Yes.
Because our Patreon, what level is that?
That is our Frosty Beverage.
Our Frosty Beverage level.
We have two.
Two
official drinking buddies, and that's John Skeen, the aforementioned John Skeen, who's in the chat.
Indeed.
And Eddie.
Eddie
is wonderful. But we do have a brand new patron this week. Mindy has joined us, and she's joining us, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we thank you, all of our patrons, and thanks to Mindy for becoming a new patron. And if you want to do that, patreon.com/usual podcast. Ton of stuff for all the levels, and we've been really ramping that up.
And actually, as we've finished our first official month under the new format. I'm going to be shipping out stickers and promo codes for the Teespring store out to our patrons.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. So definitely check us out there and support us any way you can. And whatever. Have a beer when you're thinking about us.
Absolutely.
That's all I can really ask.
Yeah, and actually, one big thing that I started launching this week is the Real Reviews. I am taking part in as many movies as I can because I now have the movie pass.
Indeed.
And so this week only, I'm offering one movie review for free on the Patreon page. So far, I've done Game Night, Wrinkle in Time.
Annihilation.
No, Annihilation is tomorrow.
Oh. Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit and
Something else.
I'm drawing a blank. The first one I did on Monday. But anyway, so there's one free a day, and I'm going to be doing videos for them next week, and those will also be free. But then after that, you'll be able to get a hold of them, get a hold of the written reviews if you donate, pledge $1. If you pledge $5, you'll be able to get, or sorry, $10, you'll be able to get the real review videos.
Nice. Sun King is actually starting to do spirits skiing.
Oh,
Say
nice.
isn't so. Oh, goodness gracious. He also said your reviews are very good.
Thank you, John.
Oh, that's nice, buddy. Do they do scotch over Sun King? Because I'm in. I'm in like Flynn in a bin.
You are in, and I'm actually not a big Scotch drinker, but I try it.
Yeah, you will. Oh, you'll do it.
Oh, I'll do it.
All right, whatever. Let's get out of here, dude. Let's start. Let's get to SWTOR and move on with our lives.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you, if you will only kneel.
All right, SWTOR time. And I just want to throw, I have one link in the show notes, but if you are part of SWTOR family and you're a SWTOR fan, you saw a bunch of pictures from South by SWTOR, is what they called it. During South by Southwest.
Didn't
event.
Bad Feeling do a thing?
Bad Feeling did a thing. Musco, Boyd, and some other folks showed up. There's some really cool pictures from Sakari and some other folks. Definitely check it out. I think the link I have in the show notes is pictures to Sakari's Twitter. He put some pics up.
Cool.
With him and Musco and Boyd and,
nice.
and some other folks. And I love those events. We do ours in San Diego, but I love when this community that we've been a part of for, over 6 years now, that we put on our own events, and the fact that the devs show up to them is I think a really big deal. So
I know,
that's
right?
That's
Exactly.
a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that's happening. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad it went well. And shout out to the Bad Feeling guys for putting that together again. I think this is our second year doing that.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
And actually, speaking of our thing in San Diego, starting probably next month, so April, we're going to start taking submissions for our new Puck T-shirt.
Indeed.
So you can join last year's winner,
Mox.
to see if you can get your own design up on our shirt.
Yeah. And the shirts go up on sale. And, of course, everybody's wearing them when they're at the Cantina
Absolutely.
event. And it's a ton of fun. So, all right, man. So, what do we got? Oh, Weekend Game. Did you play?
I really, really wanted to. I signed in last weekend and to do the GTN a little bit, but I didn't even really have time to check my mail to get the Chis stuff out.
Yeah. The speeder's cool. I did log into my main and the other DPS tune that I'm trying to level, CXP level, and the speeder is pretty damn cool.
Cool. I mean, actually, since we're going to be doing fairly early tonight, I might try to jump on a little bit tonight just to do some housekeeping stuff, get the Chis stuff. But I'm doing the real review, so I'm doing a lot of that writing, and of course going to see the movies, which takes some time. I'm going to see 2 movies this weekend. I've got a track meet on Saturday, so it's a busy time of year.
Yeah, and both of us are in full swing as far as coaching and stuff. I'm just
Pun
glad
intended.
I'm glad, yeah, and I'm glad we're trying to stay with this. I have a sick daughter. I'm on literally 2 hours of sleep right now, and I might not make it through the show. I'm trying. But anyway,
You're gonna fall asleep at the bottom of an elevator shaft.
Well, look, I fell asleep in WOG a couple weeks ago, and that's fine. Speaking of, we did not have enough this last week on Friday. We just didn't get enough signups. There was a lot of conflicts, so we didn't run, and it was honestly, it was a little bit of a bummer for me, for someone who puts his Friday nights aside every time. And I really just want to make sure that if you are play SWTOR and you're interested in getting into ops, definitely check out what's an ops group.
Yes.
Friday night, Satil Shan server. That was old school. Satil Shan server and Unholy Alliance, Wookiee Mistake, 8 o'clock Pacific. And we have a ton of fun, casual beverages. It's awesome. Other than that, I jumped off and hung out with my family, but then I did do some CXP grinding over the weekend and a little bit of crafting. That was about it.
Seriously, Harbinger, you might as well have mentioned Bastion or Shadowlands or Wound in the Forest.
I know, right? Wound in the Forest. Oh god, that's old school. Aquatic, I'm with you, man. IPA. I am IPAs all the way. Deer Creek over. No. Oh god, they're talking booze. I can't get distracted. Here we go. So let's get to our discussion topics, man. We have. Why don't you take this one?
Yeah, you know,
I met him, and he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, you met him. I met Chuck Wendig. You know,
Yeah.
so we've actually had a chance to meet some of these writers. But Drew Karpyshyn, who not only has been a major writer for SWTOR, I mean, I believe didn't he write the
He wrote the Bane series
duology? But didn't he write the Agent story?
No, that was
Or did he write Trooper?
that was Alex Freed.
Oh,
who
right,
wrote,
right.
Who wrote the?
Well, it was
yeah.
Karpyshyn wrote a whole bunch of stuff for SWTOR. He wrote some stuff for KOTOR. He
Yeah.
wrote for Mass Effect. He's been with BioWare for a long time. He left.
And he's written novels for those worlds too.
Exactly. And he left in 2015, and then he came back last year, I think, and now he's living in. But he's going to do his own projects. He's actually, I believe, he got signed on to write for a game for Fox. I think it was.
Possible, yeah.
But yeah, so he's definitely got some stuff going coming down the pike.
And I like Karpyshyn, man. And he wrote.
Very good writer.
I want to say he wrote Deceived, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite Old Republic novels
Right.
before the new canon set in. And you know, I met him. He's a really cool guy. I like his stuff a lot. So I mean, hats off to him. He might come back at some point.
Yeah,
He comes
I mean,
and goes from BioWare.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, when you're a major talent and a freelancer like that, you definitely get signed on as contract work and stuff.
Yeah, indeed. So the main topic for this week will be the live stream. And it happened a couple days ago.
Right.
As of recording this episode, today's Thursday. It happened Tuesday. And I watched most of it. But there's a nice recap I put in the show notes. There's a screen capture of some of the Conquest changes, which I thought were really kind of nice.
Awesome.
And they put in some stuff for solo, and it's really set up to where you can see. So in the solo tab, you have you have a couple ops, and you have crafting goals and everything, and it says it very
Right.
sort of like the activities window right now.
Okay.
Where
Very organized.
yeah, very similar layout, which is kind of nice. They talked a little bit about the return of Ashara, and again, this was centered around 5.8, which is coming out in a couple weeks. It says Ashara's return and Vector's return, and obviously you have to be Inquisitor agent to get these guys.
Right.
It makes sense. And let's see, Isaacs is. They talked a lot about it. We watched the trailer in trailer time a little
Looks
bit
like
ago.
a fun boss.
And one of the things I kind of liked about they brought in this guy Matt, who is the ops lead, and he was talking, and they asked him, and I thought this question kind of stood out. They asked him the question is, what were you going for at the beginning with this boss? And he was talking about scale. And if you look at the pictures that we posted on Twitter and stuff, the scale, the size of the characters compared
He's
to
massive.
the boss, it's insane. So I thought that was pretty darn cool. So let's see. What else?
Did he skip leg day? Unlike Eyeless?
Well, look. I mean, Eyeless never skips leg day. He's got
Butt day.
He's got butt day all around. And so they kind of talked about the story behind this. There's a new weapon on Iocath. It has to do with these droids, and the players took on Tithe. They discovered that there were more. And Skya is the one who's trying to keep them all in check, but Isaacs is the most powerful one, which is
Right.
pretty cool. And since it's scaled so high, the difficulty, I guess the people on the PTS lasted like 7 seconds
Holy crap.
or something crazy. Like, let's see. The first pull on PTS lasted 7 seconds, and no one has been able to beat it on the PTS. The fourth phase comes back to the mechanics of the second phase, but with a whole ton of ads, and you'll get swarmed by little spider droids. I just think this is going to be chaos, and it's going to be
sure.
It's going to be fun for people who really want high-end content
Exactly.
and waiting for it. Give them a nice challenge. I think that's kind of
Well,
cool.
after this, kind of like slow roll of bosses to kind of like this, because this is the final one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so to finish up with this, which is like, as of right now, an unbeatable boss.
right.
That's what they want.
Exactly. And it says It will take you 13 seconds to run back to Isaac's after a wipe. Sky's Room, there's a hidden mini boss, which is cool, that you can defeat and bring it down, bring your runtime back from 64 seconds to 12. And I guess somebody asked a question, you know how on Iocath, after you beat one of the bosses, you can be that boss on the planet as part of the Iocath deal.
Okay, yeah.
Isaac's is not one of them.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Yeah, I still haven't beaten that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far either. But, and what else we got here? Class balance. Class balance changes will come in 5.9, will most likely be utility changes, and of course the skank tanks that the people have been talking about, tanks that wear DPS gear. So
awesome.
It says if you beat Isaac's in the release period after 5.8, you're going to get the title, which we've talked about, which is a rare item. Similar to Wings of the Architect from back in the day.
Right.
And it's bound to Legacy. And if you beat it after release period, the item will still drop, but it won't be bound to Legacy. So,
okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
It's a nice little perk by beating it early.
I think so. But that's kind of it for the live stream. Like I said, I did watch it. I wish they did more live streams, to be honest with you. But I mean, it is what it is, man. They're busy.
I mean,
enough
it takes
with what
time.
they're
It
doing.
takes quite a chunk out of their day.
Yeah. And we watched I'm not going to rewatch the Isaac's teaser, but it was kind of nice getting to release that photo as an influencer a little early. Although on my Twitter feed, I looked at Passionately Casual's post and they put Isaac and I wrote Isaac, and Twitter's annoying. It's actually Isaac's with an X. And Twitter's annoying. I was able to fix it everywhere else, but on Twitter, everyone was responding and retweeting, so I didn't want to take it down.
Right.
So nobody called me on it.
No, of course not.
And me calling myself on it is kind of stupid, but here we are.
Well, you're a little stupid.
I'm just being honest, bro. And you're a dick. So let's move on. The chat is lively. I'm glad people are connecting in there. That's awesome.
That's what we want the chat for.
Exactly.
This is a community.
Well, you say that, but I'm joking. All right, so let's get to Star Wars, man. We got some good stuff. Ready?
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
All right, dude. We got some, we don't have a ton, but we have some really neat stuff to talk about in Star Wars this week. So let's get right to it. Some discussion topics. What do you got here about Mark Hamill?
Yeah, so Mark Hamill was giving some advice to a young girl who evidently was afraid to wear a Star Wars shirt to school. So I'm bringing it up here so I can read what it is really quick. Sorry, my laptop's a little slow.
You're a little slow.
So Mark Hamill, it says here, this is from comicbook.com. It says Star Wars star Mark Hamill took to Twitter this week to share some advice for a young girl afraid to wear her Star Wars pride on her sleeve. Evidently, a mom posted to social media that her 7-year-old daughter was crying because she wanted to wear a Star Wars shirt to school, but she was afraid the kids would tease her for liking boy stuff. So then she asked the internet to share and comment, and of course, Mark Hamill got it, and he responded, "Just tell her to feel free to use this gesture." Sorry, to use this gesture if her classmates give her any grief. Boy stuff? Please. The Force is and always will be strong with females here on Earth and in galaxies far, far away. So then he posted a GIF, and I'm opening it up here to tell her what the gesture is. Oh, and it's Luke brushing off his shoulder during the Last Jedi.
During the Last Jedi, that's great. That's awesome. I love that. I like when Hamill gets into that kind of stuff because that's
Hamill's great.
That's the reason that he came back. That's the reason that he's been so invested in this series for so long, is because he loves it and because he loves what he's able to do through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's honestly, it reminds me of that meme, and actually I should look. I'll tweet it after the show. And I'll post it if you want to see it. But it's a wonderful picture of a girl wearing a Darth Vader helmet and lightsaber and everything, but it's all pink.
Oh, that's awesome.
But she's also wearing a tutu and everything, and it's like, because some days you can't decide.
Dude, and that's great. And we've seen stuff variations on that down at Comic-Con too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, plus there's a great podcast, and honestly, it's been a couple years since I've listened to it. So if it's not airing, you can definitely listen to old episodes in Skywalking Through Neverland.
Oh yeah, they're still going.
Yeah, and the main female person, she actually I pretty much trademarked the Jedi Tink.
Yeah, and I
Because-
haven't listened to them in a while either. But yeah,
It's a great husband and wife team that do, because they're huge Star Wars fans and they love Disney. And it's called Skywalking Through Neverland. And she's Jedi Tink. And when she goes and runs the 5Ks and 10Ks,
Oh, yeah.
she has an actual Jedi Tink outfit. And,
yeah, I think it's great.
and you can follow her on Twitter at Jedi Tink.
Yeah, indeed. All right, man. So what else we got? More Mark Hamill news.
We do. Mark Hamill's, somebody was asking him who he'd like to see play a young Luke Skywalker, because this has come up about because I can't remember the actor, but somebody was talking about somebody in their early 20s who could possibly play a young Luke, right?
Yeah.
But he's actually saying if you want to go younger, he would love to see Jacob Tremblay play him. And if you don't know who Jacob Tremblay is, go and watch a movie from a couple years ago. It's actually a movie that Brie Larson won her Oscar for, called The Room.
Okay.
You are going to cry your heart out, and it is massively heartbreaking.
After you told me about that movie, there's a I have not watched it for that reason.
But Jacob Tremblay in it is a phenomenal force, and
Awesome.
he's like a 7-year-old kid. Well, now he's probably about 10, but he's great. So check out Jacob Tremblay, and anything he's in, he's fantastic.
And we didn't mention, I don't know how long Zen's been there, but I'm glad you're there, man. We gave a shout out to people that have been hanging out. Zen, longtime supporter of the show, also said that they're still around.
Oh, cool.
He still listens to Skywalking Through Neverland.
Yeah, they're
to
fantastic.
I like to pick him back up, man. I listen to so many things. Like, I had to kind of like start figuring out, okay, so do I listen to these guys enough to do it?
Exactly.
And
I
how
mean,
many Star Wars podcasts to listen to, you know?
Yeah, I've got about 12 to 15 podcasts on my feed right now. But there's, you've got like 70.
65?
But there's 3 or 4 that I listen to every day, and some that I listen to every week or bi-week whenever it comes out. But there's some that I'm like 20 episodes behind, and they're weekly. So I'm like half a year behind.
Oh, yeah.
Just because they're all like an hour and a half long, and it's like,
Well, the only Star Wars ones I think I listen to now, I mean, we're off on a tangent again, but I still listen to Cantina Cast, and that might be the only Star Wars one I really listen to right now. The rest, it's, comedy stuff and geek stuff and Smodcast stuff.
Right.
And, of course, Sanspants consumes a lot of it, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks and stuff, too. So, I mean, I got to pick and choose at this point. Like, I don't even listen to every SWTOR podcast anymore.
Yeah, I really can't.
Which is very sad. But anyway, let's not talk about what we're not listening to. Let's talk about what we want to talk about.
Okay, well, we're not going to watch this,
No,
but we're going to put a link in here. It's in the show notes, but it's where you can watch Mark Hamill sing in German in a weird 1980s Star Wars skit.
That's amazing.
It's like an 8-minute long video, so we're not going to watch it, but it's up on YouTube. I put a link to the comicbook.com page that had a link to it, so check it out if you want to watch something funny.
Maybe if we don't have a lot of trailer time next week, we could or we can ask people to watch it this week, and then we can watch it next week.
Sure, why not?
Or we could talk about it next week. I don't know, something. All right, so Last Jedi news. What do we got?
Well, the book, of course, came out last week, and it turns out that the novelization reveals a little bit about how Rey learned her advanced abilities.
Yeah.
Because she's doing a whole bunch of stuff that, Luke says, I've only seen this raw power once before.
Yeah.
And she's a chosen one. Let's see here.
There's some other stuff that's come out of the novelization, from what I hear, like some stuff about Snoke and stuff like that. I might pick it up just to check it out real quick.
But it says that the book explains that Rey learned her new techniques after being connected to Kylo. So during those force bridges that they were having those conversations, not only were they actually having like conversations, but she was being imbued with some of his talents.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
it says from this article, it says, in Jason Fry's new book, the prose explains that Rey learned her new techniques after being connected to Kylo Ren, which was unknowingly facilitated by Snoke.
Okay.
Kylo had retreated at finding Rey in his head, but that had not been the end of the strange sudden connection. She had seen more, far more. So she was able to see stuff in his mind and learn from that.
Okay. And I think we kind of saw a little bit of that in
When they were going up
in
against the
Force
Praetorian.
in The Force Awakens too, where she taps into his mind a little bit.
Exactly.
And who knows what she picked up out of there?
Well, that could explain, because remember, when he's trying to read her mind when she's strapped up,
And she's now able to do the Jedi mind trick all of a sudden?
Right. Now all of a sudden she can do the Jedi mind trick, and then all of a sudden she can force pull
Yeah.
the lightsaber out of the snow. So you never know.
And yeah, he would know about her as well, Skeen, which is, I think, why their connection was so deep. By the time they met up in that chamber, they were ready to. They,
And honestly,
they were on the same page.
That
you
could
know?
be how he knows that Rey's parents aren't anybody big, because she may have hidden it deep down and not know it, but he could have read that memory.
Or he was able to tap into a memory she's lost track of.
Exactly.
And was like, yeah, your parents are nothing.
That
right?
exactly. That could make that actually explain something there.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so I might, if I can squeeze it in, I might pick up the novelization. I didn't do it for last year. There's something about reading the book of a movie I've already seen, like a book based on a movie. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around. But
Yeah, the only time I've actually done it was when I read Terry.
Pratchett,
No,
Brooks.
Terry Brooks, when he
Yeah.
wrote the novelization of a Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah.
And I read that specifically because of the Darth Maul scene.
the Darth Maul stuff. Yeah, totally. All right.
All right, so-
we have some solo stuff.
A funny thing here, if you want to open this up and show it up on screen, you can.
No, I saw this.
But there's a new Solo: A Star Wars Story theater standee that lets you sit in on the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, this is cool. Hold on. Oops. Well, go ahead and say stuff.
No, well, I mean that's it, but it's kind of cool. I mean, of course, in our theater here is way too small to get a standee like that.
Oh, it's a video.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you are near a big theater and they happen to have this standee, check it out because you can sit in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and who doesn't want to do that?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Then lastly, unfortunately, John Williams.
We talked about it last week.
We talked about last week that John Williams is his last Star Wars movie is going to be Episode 9, and he's not doing Solo. Solo is being done by John Powell, who
Right.
is really good, but he started doing his scoring this week. So, because scoring is traditionally the very last thing to go in.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's coming out in 6 weeks? So,
Yeah, and we don't even have a full trailer yet.
oh no, exactly.
So we'll see how this goes. I'm after the teaser. I'm actually looking forward to it, and after all the drama, I want to see what happens. But I don't know, man. There's something to be said. 6 weeks out, it's pretty unheard of. We haven't had a full trailer yet.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
we've had a decent sized trailer, but not full.
We haven't had a full trailer.
Yeah. But John Powell's great, and he's definitely using the John Williams cues. So,
Yeah, I hear you, Skeen. Like, it's hard to say Terry Brooks without thinking fantasy. I'm with you. All right, man. Last Jedi. What do we got?
So for those of you big fans, I'm sure you already know that the digital version of The Last Jedi came out last week. The Blu-ray's coming out, I believe, in 2 weeks. But what's really cool is Ryan Johnson has come out and confirmed that there's going to be a score-only version of the movie on the Blu-ray.
That's pretty cool.
And what's cool about that is that means no dialogue and no sound effects. It's just the score.
Music. Oh wow, that's cool. That'd be weird to watch.
Yeah, so basically it's basically the equivalent of watching the movie with the sound off and playing the soundtrack.
Yeah, huh. Which we all did at some point.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. So I have a link in the show notes here. I didn't go through it on purpose because I kind of want to pick these up myself and dive down the rabbit hole here. But there's a sneak peek of the Star Wars Last Jedi bonus features, right? Do you want me to open it at all, or how do you feel?
No, I'd rather be surprised.
Yeah. So this is on Nerdist, and there's a bunch of things here. This actually just came out a couple days ago, so you can check it out if you want. Personally, I would rather
Go into it blind.
go into it, check them out, and then come back and talk about it as maybe
Okay.
a bonus thing for Patreon or something. Would be kind of cool. So
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah, we could do like a I'm hoping they do like a. Well, there's that one documentary that's out, but I'm hoping there's another one maybe in there. That
Yeah,
we
there's.
can- that
I
we
believe
can talk
there's.
about.
I believe there's 3 or 4 documentaries.
Awesome. So I would actually really like to watch those and then come back and do a special.
Very cool.
Rebels.
Actually, we're gonna skip this one and push it to next week.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, so we should talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
actually.
This week we were going to be talking about Rebels, specifically the first episode after the hiatus for this season. And I was actually like 9 episodes behind. I hadn't watched
Yeah.
anything from this
I didn't think
season.
you'd catch up by this week.
And
but-
so Sunday I just started watching because I had to watch everything up to that, and I just kept going and I watched the entire season.
Yeah, so I still have 3 episodes to watch. I watch them with my kids. We've had some hiccups the last weekend. Excuse me. Like I said, we've had a lot going on, so we just haven't been able to do it. But tomorrow night, my goal is to finish those last 3 episodes, and then next week we'll come back and talk about the whole season as a whole.
Yeah, because we're not only going to talk about the whole season, but we'll talk about the next series being done by Filoni, because there's some definite plans. There's actually an article that I have kept and that we'll be talking about next week, and it gives 7 ideas for what the next cartoon could be.
Nice.
Then there's this article talking about there's a new character we meet, and this is talking about the future of that character because other Star Wars properties are already asking about that character.
Yeah.
So very, very kind of cool.
Cool, man. Merch.
Yeah, we've got a couple of merch things here. We're not going to be talking about merch as much in the main show, but if you become a patron, you'll get the weekly newsletter, which will get delivered right to your inbox and also posted to the Patreon homepage. And most of the merch stuff is going to be going there, which, for example, I will just put a little thing. I have something in the last newsletter I just put out that was a Target exclusive Funko of the wounded Ian Malcolm from Jurassic World Park. That, of him laying on his side. People call it the sexy Malcolm. It was an exclusive that just got released last night, and I bought it. It's already on its way.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, dude. So we got what do we got here?
It's a Darth Vader Stein.
This is amazing.
This is cool.
I'm gonna open this up while you talk about the next one.
So it's
Well, we can talk about what this is.
well, it's a Stein. That's
We all know what a Stein
Vader,
is.
but it's really cool because it's the
that.
hyperbaric chamber,
Yeah, that's amazing.
and it has a quote on it that says,
I find your lack of faith disturbing. I love it.
exactly. But it's a
So-
cool Stein. In the next week's newsletter, there's actually going to be a link to a new Darth Vader teapot, which looks pretty cool. The next one, one of the big things is that they're releasing is a new Jabba sailing barge.
Yeah.
And so Hasbro, there's an article that we have in here linked to that talks about how Hasbro designed it and built it and everything. So, if you're into the toy stuff, it'll give you a little behind the scenes look at how they came up with it.
And yeah, there's a lot more to this. This is off on StarWars.com, the official site, published on the 2nd. But again, it's a pretty damn cool thing. So
It is.
People have been asking for it. It says in the article for 35 years, and they're making it happen. So
I remember it wasn't last year's Comic-Con, but the year before when they had actually it was right before Force Awakens came out, and they had the sailing barge at the Petco parking lot.
yeah,
That was
great.
awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
We have one bit of theme park news. If you go back to our trailer time, we actually talked about showed the video for the flyover for Galaxy's Edge construction progress.
Right.
We're not going to re-show that here, but you can go back to the trailer time and watch that. But they are closing down Pirates for about a month.
Oh no.
Because they're doing a renovation. Because in this,
Did they say what month it is?
it's being reopened at the beginning of April.
Okay, that's fine. We're not. I'm going.
Or
back
middle of
in-
April,
I'm
something
going
like
back
that.
in the summer.
Oh no, it'll be done by summer.
Good.
But this is kind of late for its off-season renovations, but it's because they're getting major pushback and have been all year long, especially as part of the Me Too and Time's Up movement.
Right.
They're removing the wench auction. So what they're doing is they're changing it to the redhead, who is the main focal point in the wench auction. She's actually becoming the auctioneer, and
I think that's so awesome.
and she's
dude.
becoming a female pirate that is auctioning off loot.
And I think it's time, dude. And we did talk about this a little while back. No, and Disney does not do refurbs in summer. And in
No,
fact,
they usually do the refurbs between February and early April.
and as a person that usually goes during our February break from school, most rides a lot of the rides are closed during that time.
Yeah, and actually each ride tends to have their same cycle, right? So like if you go in February, usually you can't go on Space Mountain.
It's sometimes it's Space Mountain. It's usually Splash Mountain, Thunder Mountain, some Fantasyland stuff.
Right.
Small World's always closed. Those are the kind of the big ones that are usually closed in February. But as far as the auctioneer becoming the woman and doing that, I just think that is so cool. I can't wait to see that happen.
And actually, to reference what Skeen's saying here, It was actually the last ride that Walt had a personal hand in. It was originally supposed to start off as a walkthrough, and then they changed it to a water ride, a water flume ride. But this isn't the first time they've changed things on. I mean, of course, they did the rechange with Johnny Depp when the movie came out. But even before that, actually, when I worked for the Disney company, they did a remodel. And this one I was thought was kind of ridiculous. But throughout the scene, you'll see a whole bunch of pirates chasing women, right?
Yeah.
And totally sexist or whatever.
Well, that changed years ago.
Right, but at the end of it, there was one woman chasing a pirate.
Right.
And it was because she was overweight. They thought it was fat shaming. And so they changed that. But the unfortunate thing is they put food in his hand.
They put food in it, yeah.
And
so it made it worse.
And like a rolling pin in hers. And so she was the cook who was
Right.
chasing him because he was stealing food from the kitchen.
Yeah.
So they have changed due to societal pressures before.
For sure.
So it's not unheard of, especially in a ride as classic as Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to change everything, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not embracing stereotypes when you can avoid them.
Well, exactly. I mean, when you have an entire ride like Splash Mountain, which is devoted to slavery, I mean, come on. I mean, they're called Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox and Brer Bear,
that ride is,
and you have the Tar Baby. Come on,
and that ride's so good though.
It is a great ride.
It's a
Don't
great
get me
ride.
wrong.
And Blair, you're right. Indiana Jones, I'm not sure when their maintenance window is. I don't know when you went, but yeah, it usually is open in February and during the summer. That might be a March deal.
And I think they also do a quick refurb in the fall because that is a ride, because it is such a unique ride mechanism.
Yeah.
Actually, the only other ride that I can think of that uses the same sort of mechanism is Expedition Everest.
Yeah.
In Florida. It does tend to break down quite often.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on, dude. Galaxy's Edge, we talked about that.
We did. That's it. It's time for usual
Time to
roundup.
get to the last section, buddy. That went longer than I thought. It's like we went on tangents or something.
I know, right? Oh, that's right. Dinosaur uses it in the. Actually, I haven't been on the dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom at Disney World. I haven't been on it since they changed the design of it.
No, I haven't been to Disney World, so here we go.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero.
Well, you're not.
In the future, none of you are heroes. You're legends.
All right, so we're going to start the top of the show, the top of the usual roundup with our sad news, and this one is very sad.
It is. I mean,
but also a lot longer life than he
absolutely. I mean,
was
this
expected.
It's not too often you get somebody who usurps not only his own profession, but all of culture.
Yeah.
And Stephen Hawking was definitely one of those. I mean, this is a man who changed theoretical physics and astrophysics more than anybody in recent memory, except for maybe
there's
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, there's a few others out there, but he
the fact that he was diagnosed with ALS at like 20, and they gave him like 2 years, and he survived to be 87 or something.
77, something like that.
Yeah. A totally big bucket of wind, cauldron of wind, but how he reached into pop culture, especially into he had a best-selling book that sold 10 million copies. Yeah. He was featured constantly in The Big Bang Theory
and The Simpsons. Yeah, he's been in Futurama. He's been in and what I like is that he always plays himself, and he's always very tongue-in-cheek, always very much
funny,
kind of poking fun at himself or the characters of the show. And I love that. I love the fact that he not only obviously had a brilliant mind, and contributed to astrophysics in general, but to be able to jump over into pop culture. I think this is the reason we're talking about him. I loved anytime I heard him talk about something, it was always a trip because he had little jokes in there and stuff.
Exactly.
And I like that.
And talking about pop culture cred, I mean, he had a movie about his life made a couple years ago called The Theory of Everything,
right,
which got Eddie Redmayne his Oscar, and Eddie Redmayne's now Newt Scamander in Wizarding World. So, it's just amazing how influential he was in all facets of life.
Indeed. I think I'll make it to the end, but if my mic drops out, let me know.
Okay.
'Cause batteries are low.
All right. Really quick, actually, if you're wondering where all of our casting news and release date news and merch and stuff like that, a lot of it
Nobody's
is
wondering that, but I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
a lot of it goes to, and unless it's a major thing, we'll talk about it here. But most of the that sort of news has gone to the newsletter.
Cool. And all right, DC news, dude. This one is a trip. So Ava
DuVernay,
who was the director of Wrinkle in Time,
right? And Selma.
oh yeah, that's right. And she is going to direct DC's New Gods coming up here.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. And I was talking to you at dinner, and I was I thought it was kind of neat that that before the film, although I was not a big fan of Wrinkle in Time, before the film, she kind of came out and addressed the audience and said, "Hey, I'm the director of the movie. This is, and said a couple of things. I thought that was kind of neat." So anyway, that has nothing to do with New Gods. I don't know anything about New Gods, but
It was originally designed by Jack Kirby, right? And it involves the evil gods of Apocalypse, which include Darkseid, which we saw in
that's right.
in
Justice League.
BVS, wasn't?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Batman vs. Yeah.
But then they're going to be up against the bright and idealistic gods of the new generation, led by the High Father.
Okay.
So there's stuff like that. But the other stories that came out of this time period were Mr. Miracle and the Forever People. So a lot of stuff, but it all basically comes from Jack Kirby.
All right, cool. And she's, like I said, I wasn't super stoked about Wrinkle in Time, mostly because it just wasn't my thing. But it's not to say that the film wasn't well directed and well shot and well done.
Exactly. I just posted my review to it on Patreon this afternoon. I went and saw it last night. I was really looking for this movie for about a year.
Yeah.
And then for the last couple of months, I've been like kind of hedging my expectations. And then you said you weren't quite feeling it after you went and saw it last week. And so I went in with actually lowered expectations, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. For me, it was fine. I
have a couple of quibbles about it, but nothing major.
Yeah. And maybe next week we can kind of
absolutely
talk about it a little bit more. But I just, for me, I don't know, maybe it was my mood. Maybe it was the fact that I wanted to see Black Panther again instead.
Oh, probably.
There were other things, but I don't know. It was fine. We'll talk about it later.
Cool. I'm excited about this next one. They have cast the next villain for Wonder Woman 2.
No way.
And it's she's going to be playing Cheetah, and it's Kristen Wiig.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'm excited because I love Kristen Wiig, and I think she's much more than what you see in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be fun to see how that unfolds for sure.
Absolutely. We have quite a bit of little Marvel news, but a lot of it kind of lumps together.
Yeah.
The big stuff is Kevin Feige's actually come out and said when they're going to want to start working on X-Men and Fantastic Four. And he basically said two things have to happen before he can really start working on that. And of course, the obvious one is the deal has to finish going through, which is going to be at least another 6 to 9 months to jump through all the financial hoops. But the other one is they're not going to do it until they finish up with the stuff that's in pre-production right now. So he said they're not even really going to look at it until after they finish Infinity War 3, Avengers 4, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
yeah, so we're talking
and
years,
Ant-Man and Wasp. Yeah, so we're looking at least 2-3 years before we start getting any news whatsoever.
Makes sense. What else we got?
So the Black Panther screenwriter, not Ryan Coogler, but the other one, has come out and said that if this is kind of odd, it's been 10 years, but so much has gone on in today's atmosphere that if Iron Man were to be released today, he thought it would actually be taken as disrespectful as his womanizing ways and everything.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Except for, and actually the author of the article points this out, is that he kind of has to have that before he gets the redemption arc.
But that's the thing, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to say he doesn't really follow the anti-hero thing necessarily, but there's hints of it. But I guess what I'm saying really is that, well, if you want to put him in that category, the idea that he has flaws, he has to come back from, that's the redemption thing.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, you're womanizer, you're doing this, and then it's that much more impactful when we come back to him in Avengers and stuff like that. It makes much more sense. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
And to answer Blaze's question, it says so no X-Men or anything till Phase 5 at least. Actually, I'm thinking they might be involved in Phase 4, especially since they're going much more cosmic with Phase 4, but it's probably going to be late Phase 4.
Yeah, towards the end.
So Scarlett Johansson, what do you have about this?
So I just have a link in this that says what she wants from a Black Widow movie.
Which has finally been greenlit.
Which we're finally going forward with, which is stoked. So she says... I think that there is it's such a loaded question. I would want it, she says, yes, I would want to do in the right context and for the film to fit where I'm at in my life. I mean, I've played this character for a long time. It's been probably 8 years or more. And so much has happened in my life as a performer, etc. And she says, I love playing this character. And I think there's definitely an opportunity to explore the widow as a woman who has kind of come into her own and is making independent and active choices for herself, probably for once in her life. You know, she's always had that possibility, so it fits the criteria. And then yes, I would want to do it. So I think that's interesting. She wants it to, and I'm glad they're not going to do. What I don't want to see is a Black Widow movie origin story.
No, we don't need an origin.
Like I want it to be like kind of like Black Panther is, where it's like somewhat after all these events, and she's done with the Hulk, she's done all this stuff, and like where's she at now and how has she evolved? I think that's super important.
The only kind of earlier story I would like to see would be whatever happened in Budapest with her and
but you could do that in flashbacks.
You could, absolutely. Plus therefore it would make it more of a buddy movie with Hawkeye, and we really don't want that.
Well, we don't even need Hawkeye in this movie. It could be more like, you know, if you tell the story right, that flashback would make whatever she's dealing with...
Right, it would flesh out the story.
Yeah, but whatever she's dealing with in whatever time they're talking about, that's a hindrance that she has to overcome.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That kind of
two things about this really quick. A lot of people forget she's actually like the second longest running major character in the MCU, because she joined in Iron Man 2. Mm-hmm. So not only that, but what do you think about this? This just popped in my mind. I've heard absolutely no credence to this whatsoever, so this takes this with a major grain of salt. But they haven't announced a director for Black Widow yet.
Okay.
What do you think about Joss Whedon leaving the Batgirl thing for DC? Do you think they might have actually wooed him back with Black Widow?
Well, I felt like, and we didn't talk about this on the show, but I feel like him leaving Batgirl was for something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, he said that it's just that they didn't have a story developed that they wanted,
or he got a better offer.
Right. Well, and he's been saying for the last couple of years that he wouldn't direct another movie in the MCU unless it was Black Widow.
Yeah. And if they somehow hit him with an offer he couldn't refuse, he's like,
exactly.
Well, screw Batgirl and the DC and DCU.
It's like, here's a Brinks truck. Why don't you go do what you want?
Yeah. So this is a giant vehicle full of money.
Yep.
And this is all your money.
Yes.
But not only that, but he's already been here. He's done Avengers. He's done the stuff. And I think he should stay. If that's the case, I think that's where he should stay. So
yeah, absolutely.
Got a lot of Black Panther stuff.
A lot of Black Panther stuff, but it all kind of runs together.
Okay.
Feige has confirmed that they're doing a sequel. So like that
Blaze said he probably didn't like Justice League. Yeah, well, here we are.
Probably. All right, so that was a no-brainer. Black Panther won its fourth weekend in a row last week, beating Wrinkle in Time. And I didn't put this article in here, but it's forecasted to beat Tomb Raider this weekend, so fifth weekend in a row.
5 weeks, dude.
5 weekends in a row. That's amazing.
That's nice.
It passed The Dark Knight to become the highest-grossing solo superhero movie ever.
Wow.
Within the next week and a half, it's supposed to pass Avengers to become the highest-grossing superhero movie of all time.
Oh, wow.
So right now, it is 7th all-time. Avengers is 6th. And then I can't remember what's 5th, but it's probably going to pass that. It'd be hard-pressed to catch up to...
No, it's not going to get Avatar money.
Oh, no. It might catch Jurassic World, but we'll see.
Maybe. Yeah.
Jurassic World right now.
What's up there? Avatar.
Jurassic World is 4th. Titanic is 3rd. Avatar is 2nd. Force Awakens is 1st.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
But it did pass $1 billion worldwide. It was the 5th Marvel movie to do that, and it's the first one since Civil War.
These Marvel guys have a decent track record.
Yeah, they kind of know what they're doing. And
it is a great movie, Skeen. I love it.
And a little funny, I'll let you mention this last bit.
What is the last one?
The hotel?
Oh. So it looks like like, you know, you go to those websites and you want to book your hotel and you're just trying to book your trip. I guess a bunch of those sites are reporting a rise in searches for Wakanda, which I think is just so amazing, dude. It's like, and I was telling you at dinner too. There's a little town. I think it's somewhere in the south. The name, I think it's pronounced Wakanda, but it's spelled different.
Right.
And they've been getting a bunch of calls like, hey, can I order some vibranium and stuff like that. So
Right.
I just think people prank calling a town, like the poor mayor sitting there like answering the phone, like trying to think it's an important business. And it's like, oh, how much vibranium do you have left? Can I order some vibranium, or can I come visit? That kind of thing. So I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and Joe actually makes a great point. If you haven't seen Black Panther, check it out. But Killmonger and Black Panther have a very similar arc,
For sure.
and it's definitely a really cool story to follow.
Absolutely.
And actually, just talking about things on a map and searching for Wakanda or whatever, it just for some reason reminded me, if you ever gone on Google Maps or MapQuest, I think, and looked for how to get from Tokyo to San Francisco, it tells you to jet ski across the Pacific.
Oh, it's amazing.
It is pretty funny.
Classic jet ski across the Pacific. That'll only take you weeks.
Exactly. So that's
Okay.
everything for Black Panther. We have a couple of things about Infinity War.
Yeah. What's the Hawkeye thing? We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, everyone's wondering where's Hawkeye? Where's Hawkeye? Because he's not on any posters. He wasn't one of the 15 Entertainment Weekly covers, although somebody did a fan-made mock-up, and that's getting around the internet now.
Right.
But with the release of the second issue of the Prelude comic, which came out last week, it actually shows that he says, I'm officially retired. He wants to stay home. But then there's an article that came out, and it said that his arc in Infinity War is actually, he's going to be on his own solo adventure.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's not going to be part of everything else. So a lot of people are hypothesizing that he's actually going to get sent to Japan, and this is where he's going to become the Ronin character that he is in the comics.
Nice. That's cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool.
What else do we have? So I just threw this in here. This it makes sense. There's a ton of Infinity War stuff out there, and I was trying not to spoil things for myself.
Right.
But and I think we kind of saw this coming, but it's kind of been confirmed that Infinity War is structured by, of course, Thanos hunting the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I mean they keep calling it basically a heist film. So it's basically him trying to get the stones and everybody else trying to keep it from him.
Right. And I think that's cool, man. And I don't know. We'll see how the characters who are in charge of some of these Infinity Stones, like robot guy,
Vision
and stuff, how they deal with that.
Yeah, Vision has one. The Collector has one.
Right.
Yeah, Loki has one.
Loki's got one. So.
All right. So this one I found. Oh no, actually this isn't it. Yeah, go with Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. I threw this in here at the end. And when you were talking about casting, so I was like, I threw a casting thing in there. I don't know who she is. Annabella Scoria from The Sopranos.
Annabella Sciorra.
Sora, yeah. So she is slated to be the villain
Yeah, she's really good. She actually was on
in Luke Cage season 2.
Yeah, she used to be on one of the Law and Order shows, but she's a big time actress. I mean, she's one of those people. If you see her, you know her.
Yeah. So I'm stoked for this. Only in that I'm looking forward to Luke Cage. In fact, tonight I think I'll be alone tonight. My house is sick and tired and stuff. I might sit and watch Jessica Jones.
Oh, cool.
Only in that I can't convince my wife to finish season 1, so I might as well just start season 2.
Right.
Are we caught up on chat? How are we doing over there?
Yeah, actually, Skeen is mentioning that the original Infinity Gauntlet comic series is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm putting this in the next newsletter, but there's a new box set coming out that's a statue of the Gauntlet, but it includes all of the trade paperbacks and stuff of the original series.
Oh, that's badass.
So that's something to kind of check out.
And Joe said something about Ironmonger.
They're saying how Killmonger and Ironmonger both have
it.
Monger in there.
Yeah. Cool, man. Let's jump to, the section that's near and dear to our hearts. Smod. This came out like literally, I think the day after we recorded last week.
Right.
That, so those of you that follow Kevin Smith and his stuff, we talked quite a bit about, his heart attack and stuff like that.
Right.
And he's talked about it a ton. He's back. He's doing his podcast. He's doing shows. He's doing great.
Which amazes me.
Which is great. And I'm really happy for him. And again, I'm really glad that he's still with us. But what I really liked was that Scott Mosier, and Smodcast was one of my favorite shows,
Right.
and still is. But him and Scott Mosier finally got back behind the mic for a 2-part deal. And
I mean, Smod is S&M. It's Smith and Mosier.
exactly. And what was really cool about it is Mosier's been gone for almost 3 years now
Right.
over in France, in Paris.
Yep.
Working on something that he couldn't talk about.
Exactly.
And it turns out we watched a trailer last week for the Grinch movie.
We did.
That we had heard about, forgot about, and then we saw a trailer for, oh, this looks kind of cool. And what's neat about that is he's a co-director. Scott Mosier is a
Exactly.
co-director on that. And I love the fact that now they can talk about it, and I can't wait for them to sit down and really talk about how that went.
Right.
And so congrats to Scott Mosier. He deserves it. He produced a lot of Kevin Smith stuff, but he wanted to direct, and he's making films, and I'm really happy for him. He's a really cool guy. So
Very
I'm
cool.
excited about that.
And then I just put this in here. I'm not actually going to list off the things, but there's a cool article, I believe it was on comicbook.com. Check it out. But somebody wrote an article saying all the reasons why we love Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And it goes to, his indie cred, but his directing style, his heartwarming nature, and also because the person who wrote the article actually was able to be on set when he was filming, directing an episode of Supergirl.
Yeah.
So very kind of cool.
Well, and one of the things I was telling some of my students after he had his heart attack, and we were talking about some other stuff, and I was just like, look, for me, like, he's one of my heroes because he inspires me to do what I'm doing. Like, one of the reasons why I decided to start a podcast, one of the reasons why I want to keep pursuing the things that I'm doing, because he's so, because of the way he moves through the world,
Right.
he inspires others, which I think is really important. So,
Exactly.
All right, man.
I have one bit of Sony news here, and actually, when you were mentioning Luke Cage, this is why I was like, "Oh, I thought that was my article." No, this is my article because it was released. I mean, of course, the major thing coming with Sony right now is because they don't have Spider-Man or any of that stuff. They're doing their Venomverse. There's a new movie that's getting announced for the Venomverse. We already have Venom coming out.
Right.
It looks like Spike Lee is going to be teaming up with the showrunner from Luke Cage, who is Cheo Hodari Coker. And they're going to be doing a movie based on Night Watch.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that. I'd seen some about it, and I'm actually really interested to see where Sony goes with some of this stuff. I think this is going to be kind of fun.
Right, and a little quick description here. Night Watch is the alter ego of African-American scientist Dr. Kevin Trench,
Awesome.
who first appeared in The Web of Spider-Man, number 97, back in 93. Trench discovered his own dead body wear a strange and powerful suit of armor. He took the armor from the corpse and began wearing it in order to fight crime.
Ah, that's cool. I'm in. Sounds good to me.
Cool.
Last thing.
Last thing. This is you.
And honestly, it's so quick, and I just want to kind of only mention it in that we're getting closer to convention season than we think. We're mid-March. We've only got a few months.
WonderCon's coming up soon.
Yeah, WonderCon is next week or 2 weeks from now. And
SVCC's coming soon.
And then, so we've got all this stuff. So we've got our first San Diego Comic-Con 2018 exclusives.
Really?
And this is from Hallmark. And these are great. They're pens. And they're Aquaman and Mera enamel pens.
That's cool.
Ant-Man the Wasp. And then it's got PXL8 and Han.
I
in
believe that's Pixelate.
Pixelate. That's it. Yeah, Bosch.
Because these
yeah.
are all pixelated characters.
Yeah. Bosch. Sorry. Yeah. That's so cool, dude. I'm really excited about this.
Very cool.
And I'm only throwing that out there because we are in full swing.
We are.
Prepping
We've got our
for this
hotel
stuff.
booked.
Yep.
I know you're looking at airfare or airplane soon.
Yeah, I got to solidify. I think I'm going to be down in. I think I'm going to be down in Anaheim, so I
Right.
may only have to fly back once. But
Cool.
we never talked about why we had the Wizarding World thing. Oh no, we did because Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, well, we talked about that in trailer time.
That's right.
We have the Wizarding World thing up because the new Fantastic Beasts trailer dropped this week. We watched it in trailer time, so you can check that out. But this is kind of a big thing because before everything was Harry Potter and you had that same script and everything, this is the first new logo to encompass that whole shared universe.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. If you look at it, it kind of looks like an opened book, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
But if you zoom in on the picture, it's all the different major wands that you see. So you can see the Elder Wand in there. You can see Harry's
that's
wand.
cool.
You can
Yeah.
see a whole bunch of stuff.
Nice. Well,
Very cool.
that does it.
That does it.
All right, man. So thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. We are on Twitter. Will is at Admiral Griggs, and I am at Darth Pops. Find us on your favorite podcatchers, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, all that kind of stuff. Support the show in a bunch of ways. Teespring.com/stores/Usual Podcast. You can get gear for us that supports us as well. T-shirts and that kind of thing. And we also have audibletry.com/Usual Podcast. Thanks to everybody who's done that. We've had several people do that. Get a free audiobook on us. And we
Get the new Last Jedi.
Yeah, and we get $15 if you do it. And obviously the best way to support us would be patreon.com/Usual Podcast. We have a ton of new tiers, new content. We're releasing content multiple times a week. So definitely check that out. And thanks to Will for spearheading the new format. And I appreciate you, my friend. And definitely check us out on there and support us and get stuff.
Zang.
Zang? That's all you say?
Sorry, it's a Wayne's World reference. Is that too far away for you?
Can we just go? Are you ready?
I hate you.
I'm ready to go, dude, because you're saying weird words. Anyway, let's get out of here, dude.
Weird words like Wakanda?
Well, it's a place. I'm going to book my flight to Wakanda next week.
Word. Awesome. All right, everybody, make sure you have fun.
Have fun. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
So stupid. Zang?
Zang.
Good God, man.
It means excellent in Mandarin or Cantonese.
Yeah, I'm worried when my kids just got to bed. They might be sick.
Oh, no.
I got to go and deal with that real quick.
All right. Bye, everybody. Had a great time. Thanks for chatting in the show.
I hate to run out so super quick like that, but like I said, I'm dealing with some stuff. So,
bye-bye.
Joa, thanks for being there. Blaze, Skeen, Zen, all you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Bye.